Welcome to the Winning with Shopify podcast. This is the podcast to help you scale your Shopify store into a money-making machine. Email has the highest ROI of all marketing channels. Are you maximizing its potential and growing your list? Drive conversions and create more connections with Seguno, the top-rated email marketing platform built exclusively for Shopify. Seguno is offering Winning with Shopify listeners an extended free trial, plus a complimentary strategy session with an email marketing expert. Visit seguno.com/winningwithshopify to claim your offer. Now, over to your host, Nick Truman.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Winning with Shopify podcast. For anyone that's not tuned in before, my name's Nick. Pleasure to have you tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like today's content. Leave us a little review. And if you want to get in touch and engage more with the podcast, we have Instagram, TikTok, and a whole range of other platforms, some of which I don't go on very often. Instagram is the one I update the most, but also go and check out our website as well. Me and the team are checking the website on a regular basis. Any email that we get in, we try to reply to every single one. Apologies if we haven't replied to all of them, but we do get quite a few. But check out winningwithshopify.com. We are also doing a webinar in the next few weeks, so make sure you check that out. It's with the ex-CMO of Gymshark. So I'm going to be interviewing him for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and there's an opportunity to ask him whatever questions you want. Obviously, Gymshark is one of the big flagship stores on Shopify, so super excited about that. His name's Richard. He's a good friend of mine. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. There'll be a link in the description, or maybe check out our website, or drop us an email if you want to find the link to that. It'll also be on all the emails we're sending out, so subscribe to email. That's enough from me and the background to today. But today we're going to be talking about email. We're coming to the end of our series now with Seguno, which is a real shame because we've had an amazing 3 months with these guys, talking about email, talking about customer engagement, and a whole range of other topics that have then branched out from that. We have a new sponsor coming up. I won't talk about them today, but we've got an amazing topic. We're actually just finalising the last couple of bits for that, which also why I can't talk about it because I don't know which of the two it's going to be. But we've got a new series coming up, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But today we're talking about email. We're going to be talking to a company who I'm going to introduce now called Clay Imports. Super excited to have these guys on. There's two of them who work for the business. It's not one guest, it's two special guests. Their names are Nick and Jeanne, and I'm delighted to have you guys both on the show. So first of all, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. We're glad to be on your show.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to having you guys on here. I'm going to turn to you first, Nick. Whenever we have two guests, I'm going to try and pose questions at each of you guys. Obviously, Nick, you are the CEO. Jeanne, your role is more around marketing and you deal with all the email stuff. So we're going to come to you on a bit more of a technical level. Nick, we're going to talk to you about a bit more of a holistic level. So Nick, as CEO, why don't you kick us off and give us a little bit of a background to what you guys sell, how you started the business, and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So Clay Imports is based in Austin, Texas. Our headquarters are in Austin, Texas. And we're primarily a construction building materials, handcrafted construction building materials, specifically around the medium of clay. And our more popular products are handmade tiles and another product known as Breeze Block.
Nice.
These products are all manufactured in Mexico, central Mexico, around the states of Guanajuato and Coahuila. And for those who are not super familiar with Mexican geography, this is a mountainous area that is very rich in minerals. So we extract clay from these regions and we turn them into beautiful building products.
Nice. Right, I'm going to ask some questions to give us a bit more context around the business. And these also lead into some of the things that some of our listeners will be challenged with as well. So first question then is, you mentioned you literally take materials out the side of the mountains to make the product. Do you guys do that yourself, or does another organization, do you buy the materials in, do you buy the product in, or do you do the whole process yourselves?
We do not do the whole process ourselves. We're very fortunate in that we have some incredibly reliable and we do not do the whole process ourselves. We're very fortunate in that we have a lot of reliable vendors. However, we do play a big role in production, and that role increases every year. We used to exclusively only source materials from vendors, and that kind of evolved over time to us investing in our vendors in the purchasing of production materials, or equipment needed to make products. And that's evolved now into our own production facilities. So it's a combination of Clay Imports, Jeanne and I specifically, and our internal team being on site manufacturing that, paired with still working with a number of vendors across Mexico.
Nice, nice. And you kind of answered my next question. I was going to say that even though you're not doing the actual extraction out the side of the mountain yourself, being that close to the production line and the products, it must give you such an edge when it comes to marketing, and especially when customers ask questions about products or the content you're creating. It must give you such an edge to be so closely related to it compared to, I mean, one of the classic ones we get lots of emails from are drop shippers who don't even touch the product at all. It must give you guys an edge when it comes to that communication, marketing, writing content.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the two big advantages are, yes, of course, the marketing, because the content that we can get from production is so valuable, and it's really intriguing to people. It's like our most read newsletters and our most watched videos are the things that we don't even script. They're just like us being on production sites, getting really unusual or interesting content. Yeah, that's one advantage. The other major advantage is product development,
Hmm.
being on site and working with the people that are actually extracting clay and molding the clay into building products. Just being on site and just the in hours or a day or two, being able to just modify a product into something new.
Nice, nice. And as I say, being so connected to it, it must be fascinating. I'm sure we'll hear more as we go through this episode today about that product development and how things have advanced. But Janan, if I can come over to you and ask a question about marketing, how do you guys get the content from the actual production site, or even on the side of a mountain or in the warehouse where you're making things? How do you guys tend to get the content from that and then push it out into customers? And kind of part B of the question then is, what mediums do you use to push it out? Obviously, we're talking about email, so I assume email. What other channels as well do you guys use to then push that content through?
So we have an internal content team. So we have a video team, we have a video editing team, we have professional photographers. So we're very strong with our equipment
Hmm.
and with our capable people. So we're actually right there, like Nick and I, and then our teams. We live part time in Mexico. We travel to different parts in Mexico all the time. So we just like go right to the mountainside, let's say, and we film and we take photos. So it's very like hands on and like right there. Sometimes it's spontaneous, sometimes it's thought out in advance, but the spontaneous ones are usually the ones that are the most engaging. So behind the scenes content is very popular because it's also, we really stand behind that too. So we do a lot of YouTube videos. We pushed our content out on YouTube quite a bit. We were actually able to become a creator account within just a few
Nice.
months. So we're monetizing on YouTube because we have so many views and engaged content on YouTube, but then also other social media accounts. Instagram is big for us just for pushing out content as well. So our reels and photos of behind the scenes
Mhm.
and production is the most popular. And then via email too. In email, we use that content, especially the content that we take on production side, to educate our customers or potential customers on our products. So we're very big on showing where everything comes from. We're very big on showing that we are very connected to the producers, the artisans,
Mhm.
etc. So it's a big part of our business.
Amazing, amazing. I love the fact as well. You obviously got YouTube, Instagram, and email, but you've also very loosely described. I mean, I think we'll go into a bit more detail certainly in the email one. You've loosely described how you communicate slightly differently on those platforms. So obviously YouTube, it sounds like a more of a professional, obviously still some spontaneous videos, but more kind of edited. Here's a piece of content. Instagram's more, sort of story. I'm on I'm in this location right now, and here's something cool to see actually. And then email, as you say, is kind of nurturing that story. How much do you find you're using email for people that have already purchased versus getting people to subscribe and then convince them over time to purchase?
Mm-hmm. So I would say our focus with email is customer service and post purchase, um, taking care of our customers post purchase. So we
Okay.
are not looking for new subscribers necessarily. We do have a button on our website to subscribe, and I believe also in our Instagram bio. Um, but our customers, anybody who checks out on our website, opts in to receive newsletters from us and emails. And until they're not subscribed, they get content from us that helps them understand the product better, that they maybe just purchased or that they are thinking of purchasing.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess with customers, I actually wrote this down to ask earlier on, but I think it's really relevant to this. Who are your customers? Do you find they're actually people who own a home and want your products in the home? Do you find that it's more of a construction company, an interior designer? Is there all the above in kind of different spaces?
I'll take that one, Nick.
Mm.
Yeah, our customers are primarily end users, meaning the person who's going to be interacting with the product.
Yep.
Let's just take the example of like a homeowner, someone who is selecting a product to use in their personal bathroom or kitchen. Another example of end user would be a chef in a restaurant purchasing tablewares, ceramic plates and dishes. In addition to building products, we also have a line of handmade ceramic tablewares. So approximately 70% of our customers currently are end users, meaning the person who's going to be interacting with the product, they're the one actually making the selection and making the purchase. Within that 70%, there's some variation of what kind of end user it is, like a homeowner, a commercial project. Um, and then the other 30% is trade members, architects, contractors, tile installers, people who are making a selection and in many cases actually making the purchase on the website, but they're not the person who lives or works with the product in the end.
Nice. And we've done so many projects in my agency over the years where there's been like a trade audience and a consumer audience. And sometimes we've completely split the two and gone almost like log in with your trade account and it removes, we call it VAT. You guys in the US call it sales tax, removes the sales tax because you can reclaim that kind of thing. And then we have a completely separate, separate journey, same website, but separate journey. And it just includes all the taxes on one flat price for consumers. We've done it before. We've had two completely separate brands and gone like, this is completely trade only brand. You can add to cart, but you have to create a trade account to purchase. You have to be a business, et cetera, and you have to go through an approval process. Then we have a front end site where you just more traditional, you add to cart, you just purchase the thing. So I guess the question really is, how much have you guys segmented those two audiences, or have you generally kept them both together, same audience, and targeted them as one audience?
I'll take a little bit of this one, but yeah. So we can keep them generally consolidated for the most part, and this is primarily because we don't have wholesale customers. Like we're not selling to people that are taking our products and selling it in another store or another e-com site. So we're generally able to treat our customers pretty similarly. However, we do have trade customers, as I mentioned earlier, the architects, designers, contractors, and then we do have the end user customers. So recently, the past year or so, we have been differentiating between those two more and more, and specifically through emails and newsletters.
Yeah, so we have a few newsletters that we send out to everybody. For example, if we have a new product that we're launching, we typically let everybody know at the same time, but we do at times send our trade customers, we segment them into trade customers. They get maybe a sneak peek of the product or a special discount beforehand. So we are offering an exclusive newsletter for our trade members. That's becoming part of our trade program, which is free, but you need to be eligible for it. But one of the perks is getting special sneak peeks or special discounts or something like that. And we always announce those to our trade customers per email. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And I think it's really smart with trade because another question I'm going to come on to, in fact, we'll talk about this now actually, is lifetime value and how you get repeat orders. And obviously somebody in trade, they're always doing projects, as long as business is going well for them, but they're generally always doing projects. They're always going to have some sort of need for you at some point throughout the year. So they might make 20 orders every 5 years versus a consumer which is kind of my question really, is how do you build that lifetime value from from those guys? Because obviously trade you can engage with more, but do you find consumers it tends to be a one-time purchase and you just kind of keep engaging with them and hope they spread the word? Or do you find actually people do buy more than one product and you can get regular orders and build lifetime value from just end users?
So end users tend to, in our industry at least, because we are in building products, they
Mm-hmm.
tend to do one, maybe two
Okay.
projects. So ideally, you have done your kitchen one time
Yep.
and then don't buy again the next year. So they tend to be just one-time purchasers, but they're very important to us because they spread the word about our business to their friends and
Mm.
family. This is why our content to them is typically very engaging in the sense of we show them more than just buy this product. So we're also giving them some beautiful imagery to look at, or some other inspiration, or maybe like how to do paint colors with tiles, something interesting that they might be able to use in different projects.
Yeah,
Nice.
and yeah, repeat customers are ideal, and typically repeat customers come from trade. But as Jen is saying, the end user customer, they will buy once, maybe twice, maybe three times, um, and then we're able to maintain communications with them though, and we do this through giving them advice and suggestions on care and maintenance of their products, for example.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we stay in touch with them. It's not like after their final purchase, they um, cut off the newsletter or unsubscribe or whatever. Um, they still want to stay engaged as long as we're providing them with useful information. And then on the more tangible side of this, understanding that they already are interested in our aesthetic and our brand, we also develop products yearly throughout the year, whatever. We develop products to in hopes that they purchase them. So like our tableware, actually these so we make like these cup. We're a, we've
Oh, nice.
actually our newsletters are incredibly visual. I think this is one of the things that we find so beneficial about the Seguno newsletters versus other options that we've used previously. Is Seguno allows us to include so much more visuals.
Hmm.
Anyway, so the stuff behind us, like these are the building products that we sell. This is the stuff that
Yeah, yeah.
people are installing in their homes, and they are designed to last a lifetime. So they typically won't buy that over and over again. But then we can introduce comparable products like this coffee cup that people are like, okay, I like the tile. I'm getting the newsletter. This $20 coffee cup is available now. I'm going to buy a few of these.
Okay, I think it's amazing. And obviously, one of the things that you guys have that some brands just don't, and you're obviously, as you say, portraying it really well through Seguno and through email and all the other channels, is actually the story. I think if anyone's had their kitchen done, being able to tell your friends and family when they come over the story of like, well, this stuff's from here, this stuff's from here. It's becoming such a big part of what we do as humans and how we shop and how we buy. Even more so when we start looking at like the eco-friendly elements of everything we do. So, one thing that's horrible in the environment and everybody's moaning about right now is concrete. So any alternative to concrete to build something is a story that you tell someone saying, well, we could have put a concrete base in our floor, but no, we did something else instead because it's more eco-friendly. I love that you've got that story to tell on email. You've also then got the care and maintenance. I think that's another amazing angle. But also the new products. The first thing I was thinking is, hang on, you're not going to do your kitchen more than once. It's a one-time purchase. Well, what else could you sell? And as soon as you mentioned tableware, and I think the products look amazing. And anyone who's just listening on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, check out our YouTube channel because we put the full episode on. You can see these guys and see the products behind them, which look amazing. But yeah, I mean, tableware. So you've just done your kitchen. Tableware is something else to go and buy. Again, it's part of the story, and it hopefully gets people talking. With all of that in mind, on Seguno, then, how many like automation flows do you guys have? Like, is it a really complicated setup? Do you try to keep it quite simple? You mentioned obviously you target trade in the same sort of way you target general consumers. It tends to be one voice with a few exclusives. But how many kind of automations and workflows and things do you have in Seguno?
Um, I, I think we keep it very simple. We have
Mm-hmm.
welcome, which is just one email though. We don't do a series, but we have a welcome email.
Cool.
And then another standard one is abandoned checkout, which is a 3 series automation. Um, And then, but other than that, we have our automations are usually purchase based. While Seguno unfortunately does not transactional emails just yet. Yes, while we cannot send too many transactional emails out via Seguno, we do use automations as much as we can during the order process and after purchasing for our customers. So our products are either in stock, but they still need to ship to you. So there is some communication with clients that is done through email. And then some of our orders are handmade to order as well. So it can be like a month-long process from your purchase date to receiving the product. And on our automations with email with Seguno, we are using post-purchase automation, which is like, thank you so much for your order. A few weeks after the order has been fulfilled, we do typically, I think, like 3 weeks, because we're taking in mind that the tile also needs to be installed. So typically customers really understand the product when it's installed, and then they're happy with it. If they just receive it, there's still a few steps until everything is done. So we ask them then, how was your experience? We have a survey that we're sending out automatically to every post-purchase and we have a survey that we're sending out to every customer after their purchase. And we also ask for photos. So photos and any other media assets that our customers can provide us with, like user-generated content, is very important for us, because we really want to see how people interact with our products. And if we can use it on the website and our social media to further promote, always with credits, would be is very valuable for us.
Wow. I mean, you said the email setup's simple, but it's amazing that, as you say, you're not doing anything like crazy advanced in terms of like if someone clicks here, do a completely different journey or whatever. But actually, there's a lot of different things going on. And I hadn't thought for a second, actually, that delivering your product is not a simple exercise, is it? I mean, fine if it's some tableware and I guess it's packaged in a box, but if somebody's ordered a whole ton of tiles and stuff from you, that's a big item. And especially, I guess you could end up with something quite complicated, like a large item that's handmade or a high quantity of something that's handmade. What you don't want is someone forgetting or phoning customer service and saying, like, I ordered this like 3 weeks ago, where is it? And you guys are like, well, it's nearly made, let me check. You want to make sure they're already in the loop. And actually, as you say, it's a good opportunity to just educate them and tell them the story and explain what's going on. The example I thought of in my head when you said about the handmade items in the process is when you order a pizza from Domino's. I don't know if
I
you
was
guys have
just
the
about
same
to
thing
say
at the
that,
end.
Nick.
It's exactly
I,
it. We've obviously got
I
pizza
was
on the
just about to
mind.
ask you, do you have Domino's in
Yeah, yeah.
Australia?
We're in the UK, not Australia, but yeah, we do have Domino's. It has the
Yeah,
same thing where it says like you've ordered, the dough's ready, all the items are on it, it's going in the oven, it's waiting to be collected, it's been collected, it's in the car. Like, yeah, my mum is glued to that. She listens to the
yeah,
podcast sometimes. So if you're there, mum, hi. But yeah, my mum is glued to it when it's there, and she'll literally be like, "Oh, it's just got in the oven," and it's like
yeah,
I haven't had the heart to tell her it's actually just on a timer. It doesn't actually. They
yeah.
don't click buttons at Domino's. They just. Because I used to work there when I was like 17, which would have been like nearly 20 years ago. But yeah, when I worked there, they don't do that at all. They just go, it's cooked. So the order
Man,
comes in and they just say it's good. So it's just on a timer, but it's the same kind of process. You guys, you must go. Well, we
they
know it's going to
deliver
take
also
three
over there?
weeks. Sorry.
They deliver to your house or your
Yeah,
flat?
they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
All the way. Yeah, flat, not apartment. We call it,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. Good.
yeah. They'll
Live,
deliver right to your front door.
living. Yeah, yeah. But the pizza tracker is actually what really inspired us. The
Oh
Domino's
wow.
pizza tracker. I don't know how you knew that. That was so crazy. Yeah, but yeah, so we used to just like send emails to people. We used to get orders, and then we'd be like, we're working on the tile, and then, but it was very responsive. We were waiting until the customer would like reach out to us, and then
Yeah.
we would respond to them. Um, but that response, it wasn't just external. It was also like really internal. Like they would occasionally it would serve as a reminder for us. It's like,
Mm.
oh man, when we were always working on customer orders, right? But sometimes there would be a delay on the production side or whatever, and we would lose track of time, and a customer would email us, and we'd be like, oh yeah, let's check on that order, and we'd call the vendor up,
Yep.
and the vendor would say, oh well, I forgot to tell you, but I need you to approve this color on. We're like, well, you should have told us it. So, but the automation, the pizza tracker, right? The pizza tracker isn't. It doesn't just create um, a reliable schedule on the customer facing side. It also creates a lot of structure on the internal side.
Hmm.
So yeah, when the customers are getting those messages and we're getting notifications based on the timeline for the pizza tracker, it really keeps our internal team very much in line with whatever the schedule is supposed to be, whatever the customer expectations of the
Hmm.
schedule are.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's amazing it's amazing you use the pizza example. That's the first thing I thought
Yeah,
of. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, even if, as you say, even if it's just timed, I mean, we do the same with our clients at my agency. We will always have an internal deadline and an external deadline. So we'll say we might not say on the call with the client, but afterwards we'll have a quick chat and we'll say, okay, we're going to deliver this in 2 weeks to you, or Friday next week, which means we'll then say, well, okay, Wednesday next week, I'm putting an internal meeting in the diary to run through this thing, get it
Mhm.
done. And so it adds that like impetus of we've got to make sure that all the dominoes, using another dominoes pun, they all line
Mhm.
up before you start knocking them over. Otherwise, if there's a gap, it's gonna stop. So it's amazing to hear that actually that customer contacting you guys then made you react, whereas now because the notification's automatic, you guys get notified at the same time as the customer to make sure things are on track. It's very authentic and very transparent then that you and the customer are kind of in the same journey here.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
even though it might be an automated flow, it's like there's no smoke and mirrors. It's actually we're both running this process together, so you're just getting the notifications. I mean, it goes without saying, I'm going to ask anyway, but how much did that reduce customer service when they were just being told it's going to take this long, we're in progress, it's still happening, it's still on for this date, etc.?
Uh, well, you're asking how much it reduced our labor in customer service?
No, how much did it reduce customers reaching out and chasing,
Oh,
where
Jesus,
is
yeah.
my product?
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like in 2022. Um,
Hmm.
we decided to be really proactive about customer
Yep.
communications, and that proactiveness wasn't only in the automated newsletters. It was also in video content. Like we made a bunch of videos and blogs based on customers' FAQs.
Wow.
So even before,
Yeah.
and then this information is included in the newsletters. Um, so if every week our sales team is telling us every week 5 people are calling asking how I select the grout to use for my tile, then we would produce a video and add a link to the
Mm.
newsletter and just blast that out to everyone. And then people stopped calling and asking those questions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and that was our sales team, right? The goal in being really proactive was to reduce the customer outreach post order to the sales team. We didn't want people contacting our sales team with route questions. So we did two things. We got really proactive with the information that the customers needed, and then the other
Yep.
thing was we developed a customer support department. We developed one department specifically designed for if none of your questions are answered in the newsletters, or if you just didn't look at the newsletter,
Hmm.
um, then reach out to this customer support person. And that customer support person, their job is also super easy now because all they have to do is listen to the customer and respond with one of those pre-made videos or the newsletter that the customer probably already received.
Yeah, I love it. And the parallel I'm going to pull here, which doesn't relate to food this time, and the parallel I'm going to pull here is actually to SEO. So one of the things we do a lot on SEO is we ask clients, like, what questions are you getting at the moment? And it's not just to make FAQs. I don't know if you guys have noticed or anyone else listening has noticed, FAQs don't exist on Google anymore. The FAQ schema, it was called, that doesn't exist. But still, FAQs are good content. It's good content to have on the page that if somebody lands on that and has questions, you don't want them reaching out to customer service and customer support to ask those questions, because that's your time, your resource at your end, and you have to pay that. You have to pay people's salaries, you have to pay for the systems they use, etc. So I love the fact you built like a one-time bit of content that actually would answer customer questions. I know we're talking post-purchase at this point, but you must feature some of this stuff on your site as well for pre-purchase to encourage people to purchase, so they know this isn't some crazy alien tile that I'm buying. It's a normal tile. It just looks amazing, and actually, it's got all the advice and guidance on how to install it best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So tile can be intimidating, like choosing the right one, how to maintain
Mm-hmm.
it. If you maybe have never done it before, it can be intimidating, and it can be also a high dollar purchase for you that you have not done before. So there is some intimidation to this product, but Our website is like a library and wealth of information. Nick and his brother, who are the owners, they're actually tile installers. So we have like
Nice.
real knowledge about installing, and it's very important to us that our product is installed and handled correctly. So it's not like, okay, you bought a tile and buy. It's very important for us to like make sure it's looks beautiful once it's installed.
Yeah, lovely. And just picked on something really key, actually. You didn't mention in the story, Nick, is that you and your brother were tile installers before you started running this. And I think that's fascinating. Again, coming back to content, because that's part of your story, isn't it? And that's a reason people would want to buy is you know what you're doing. You're not just selling a product and it's like you bought it now, you're on your own. It's like we used to install it, so we've developed the best product we can, the most beautiful looking, easiest to install, or whatever some of the USPs of the product are, but from a place of we know we need to install this thing well, we know how this system works.
Yeah, I was a tile installer for a long time, and actually, I don't think that we emphasize that enough right now in our business, because it's true that a lot of our product development is based on the perspective of not only pulling it out of the box, but actually going through the entire process of installation and maintenance, care and maintenance long term. Yeah, we
Yeah.
really design a lot of the products like that, and yeah, I think that we should probably emphasize that more in the future. But at the same time, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that a lot of our customers are that interested in a lot of the technical stuff. I think that a lot of our customers, I would say the majority perhaps of our customers, are they're really dazzled by the aesthetics, right? It's just so
Yep.
beautiful. um, yeah, and it's hard to, um, I don't know. Sometimes we don't really want to burst people's bubble and say, well, you should also think about the installation and the long-term care and maintenance. And
Mm.
but it's probably very important that we do that. It would probably lead to overall greater long-term satisfaction.
I mean, we're doing it because people ask these questions.
Yep.
Most customers are thankfully involved enough to do good research, and we provide it beforehand as much as possible, so we don't have to be on the phone later when they receive it and they don't know what to do with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
our goal, which I'm confident that we have met, is to um, have the most extensive library of informations in our industry, tile and handmade clay building products.
Nice. Well, I can safely say from digging around your website before today's interview, like you've definitely done that. There's so much information. I almost feel like I know you guys. Well, not you guys personally, but I know your product. I know the business really well from just going around the website. So I think it's definitely working. And yeah, that one's free. About adding more content about your background. But I think you made a really important point, both of you actually, that it's about the aesthetics and how engaged your customers are for you to know that. And I think a really important point to make to anyone listening, if you've been listening for a while to the podcast, you'll know I'm always banging this drum of talk to your customers. If they talk, don't have a separate team somewhere that deal with them. As we're talking about now, that becomes web content, email content, it becomes how-to guides, FAQs, and actually creating some sort of uniform response to certain questions. This is what we as a business think about this. Or if you have a question about, as you guys say, about grout, this is our view. This is what we suggest, and because we know it works, we've done the test, and here's a video to confirm it. I love the word you've used about when we're talking about acquiring the customers, getting that purchase through. I love the word you use of intimidation. It can be quite intimidating. You can feel quite intimidated with this world of tiles if you've never looked at it before. I've never heard anyone describe marketing as that. I often talk about like the barriers to actually get somebody to purchase, but I love the word intimidating. And it sounds like you guys, I'm assuming your tone of voice that you're always trying to get across is as informative as it is friendly. So it's like we're trying to advise you on this thing as much as it is sales push. This is the product that we're going to buy.
Yeah, I think what is the word? Oh, we want to make yes. Yeah, we want to make the tile purchase less intimidating and accessible to many people.
Nice. I like that. I think it's really, really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. A lot of the products that we sell, um, they are so they're. I'm not talking about like accessibility with regards to like price or whatever. So I mean, we have a really diverse price range of products. But anyway, as far as accessibility, a lot of the stuff we sell, it's just really hard to get. People comment a lot. Maybe you can relate to this, but people comment a lot about
Yeah.
like, I see products on the internet or on Pinterest, and they're beautiful, but I have no idea where they came from or how to buy them or how to
Mm.
install them. Uh, but they're beautiful. So we try to kind of harness those things and bundle them up onto our website so that people can educate themselves about what they are, where they're from, and what the product would be like to actually live with. So that's our kind of definition of creating accessibility, is educating somebody on what that thing is that they've seen on the internet and how they can actually acquire it realistically in some realistic timeline and then long term live with it.
Mm. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
a lot of
I
this
think it's
talking
it's a
about,
good
it's
point.
just we make like really we offer a lot of really rare things.
Mm.
Here, I'm just gonna, yeah. So this is a breeze block. This is a clay. And this is just clay
Yeah.
molded into this interesting shape. And I mean, people see that and they're like, I don't know where to buy that. And there's so few places in the world that even make stuff like this.
Mm.
Uh, and I mean, that's our job, is to like seek these things out and um, make them a reliable source. Anyway, so this is like an audio thing. We're a real visual company, but just everyone, yeah, I'm just gonna like make some tile noise for the
Nice.
podcast people. All right.
Cool. I like that. I like that. So a lot of people will watch this, and if you, yeah, as I say, if you're listening to it, definitely check out the video of this. 37 minutes. It might be slightly shorter, but around that point, yeah. I mean, it's even seeing those products. I guess the thing I've just written down as a question though is, how do you translate that thing that people can't find? Or you've highlighted one of my biggest gripes with Pinterest is most products on Pinterest no longer exist. The
Mhm.
pins are like 5 years old, and you click on it and go, that looks beautiful, and it lands on a dead page, or it's like, this product's been out of stock for 10 years. So I guess my question really is, how do you name that product? How do you go like someone who's typing in what might look, and visually it looks to me like a sunset design, clay tile, something like that. How do you name that on your site? I'm thinking PPC, SEO keywords, site search key. How do you name that on your site so when people find it there, so people can find it when they're searching?
You're not really good at that, actually.
How do
Or
we
is that the
name
million
it?
dollar question?
That's the million-dollar question. So we have a very large product catalog, and
Mm,
we are having various collections, in-house designed collections, original collections, and finding names is pretty hard without
yeah.
being too on the nose. Like, so we could. There's so many blues or something. So it's hard. We're actually struggling with this, with names for our products, because we have so
Yeah.
many. And just for colors, for example, we have 20 different blues, but
Wow.
we cannot put blue after every word. So we have azure or sky or different words for blue to
Hmm.
differentiate the different colors. So this is challenging for us for sure.
Yeah, I think it's becoming less challenging though. A couple of years ago, we would look at a lot of other sources, other websites, other industries, even within our own industry, for inspiration for names, or trying to find out, oh, everyone is calling it this thing, so we should also call it that thing.
Mm,
Um, and even yesterday we were looking at a competitor's website, and they had a product, and the description for the product, they just put every description in there. I mean, they had
right.
all of like everything that kind of related to that product, they squeezed it into the name of the product, which that's cool. That probably helps people
Mm,
find the product. But as time goes on, we're starting to see now that, um, especially since we develop so many of the products that we sell, I mean, the first place that they are available is at Clay Imports.
mm.
Um, so as time goes on, we're starting to see that we're establishing the names, and those names are becoming industry standards, which is really
Nice.
interesting. Yeah, I never imagined like 10 years ago that that would be the case. I mean, 10 years ago, I didn't even really think a whole lot about what the names meant, or um, yeah, what the significance was. But yeah,
Mm.
now it's so cool that yeah, it's so cool that starting from nothing, making the product just a lump of clay, and then turning it into a thing, and the evolution of that process. Um, very often naturally the name will develop from that. And I know this is this is kind of irrelevant to how people are going to find it. And we're making a new thing. We're making something new.
Hmm.
And the name that it is also new.
But
Yeah.
he's referring
Yeah.
to you see Pinterest board with the
Yeah.
blue tile. How do you
Yeah.
find it at Clay Imports?
Yeah. I don't know, but now I have this whole other idea of why don't we just go to Pinterest and find all of those like really popular products that are no longer available, and then we can just make those products.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of years I've spent, which is like over 15 now, in Google advertising and SEO, the amount of weird things people type into Google. And it's quite funny. I've seen some of Google's own studies because we can obviously only see what people have typed in to find us being me or one of my clients or something, or you guys. It's amazing when Google release a study actually of going, this is a very classic user journey that might start with like trainers, and then you're like, oh no, these are all men's trainers. I'm a woman, I want women's trainers. So you type women's in, and then you're like, oh, I don't like pink, don't like blue, don't like green, yellow. I'm gonna get yellow, and it's like women's yellow trainers, and like the keyword just gets longer and longer and weirder as it goes on. So then it's like women's yellow trainers with foam, which means like a squishy bit at the bottom under your foot with foam, but firm, I don't know, outside or something. And then they have to be waterproof. Add waterproof in. Oh, I'm a size 7. Right, 7 goes in there. Next, you know, you've got about 30 or 40 words in there, and there is no site on the planet that has perfect indexing to index that exact item to go, here it is for you. So yeah, you still have to do lots of digging. But I think it's rest assured, guys, you're not the only brand I've ever spoken to that have said we don't know what to call our products, and we don't really know. You know, we know what people are typing in to find us today, but we don't know what they're typing in or might type in or might look for on Pinterest to find something new that we're making. We've worked with lots of new brands. Certainly, lots of brands we work with are releasing new products. And the most dangerous thing we get sometimes, or difficult for us, it can be challenging, is where someone goes, "We've developed this," and we're like, "What the heck would you type into Google to bring that up?" It's lovely, but no one knows it exists. But that's where you have to look at the whole funnel, don't you, of marketing, the whole wheel of like, you need to do some display advertising and some newsletters and tell people that this thing exists now to create some demand on Google, Pinterest, social media, so people do click, and then eventually you get the purchase. But that's a lot more long-winded and harder than if you developed a product that already, as you say, like look on Pinterest and see what's popular and see, okay, there's already 100,000 people a month looking for this in the US. Well, let's develop one of those ourselves and sell that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no real question there, but there we go. Awesome. Well, look, guys, we're pretty much at time now. It's been great to chat to you. Yeah, just thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for the amazing insights that you both shared.
Hey, do you think that the way that Domino's has the outward, the pizza tracker, do you think that they also have something that they work with their vendors similarly?
I don't know, because Domino's will have all the stuff there when you order the pizza. Whereas you guys, when somebody orders something from you, you then have to go to the vendor to find if it's handmade to get it made. So I don't know if Domino's will have that or not. Their head office is in the UK is about a quarter of a mile from my office where I'm sitting right now. So I could go and ask them if I knew anyone. But yeah, we can certainly find out. But it'd be useful for you guys, I think. But anyway, look, thank you so much for joining the show, guys. Really appreciate having you on, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. And final question for either of you, whichever wants to take this. If people want to check out your website, reach out to you, follow you on social, how do they connect? Where do they find you on the internet?
www.clayimports.com is our website, and our social are typically just Clay Imports, one word, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, the usual.
Nice. And I normally then have to spell the name, whereas you guys actually call it Clay Imports with no funny spelling. So thank you for that. Clay Imports, check these guys out. They're doing some amazing stuff. For everybody else listening at home, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We post every Friday, and that's a quick note for any new listeners. So check us out again next Friday, and thanks again for joining us.